I'm speaking with Christian Science Nursing Arts participant Maa Grace, who is here to tell us a little bit about her experience in the training program here at the BA. Thank you very much for taking some time to be with us today, Maa Grace.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you became interested in Christian Science nursing?
About 3 years after I finished college and I had 2 different jobs, I started praying about finding fulfillment in a job career. And after doing it for 3 years, I was wondering if this was how adult life was going to be. One day, a Christian Science nurse visited my family. She's a family friend, and she came to visit, and out of the blue, she asked me if I was interested in Christian Science nursing, and I had never thought about it, and I had not told anyone I was doing any prayerful work on that. And when she said that, it took me aback because I wasn't so interested in traveling. I thought pray about job, find something close to home, and that sounds more realistic. So when she said it, I said, oh, sure, but I didn't really take it very seriously, and I still continued my prayerful work. And one thing I remember was reading in Genesis 12 about Abraham when the Lord asked him to leave his country and go to a different place to fulfill his purpose. And I felt that, okay, this is God talking to me one way or the other. So I said, what's the worst case scenario that would happen if I applied to be a Christian Science nurse? And I'll still continue praying and see the way forward. And I applied to the BA, and here I am.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
And what attracted you to the BA specifically?
Funny enough, I never knew much about any of the facilities because I didn't look into it till she said something about it. So I called her back and I asked her if she knew about any facilities. And I knew only of the facilities she had worked in. And she mentioned the BA. And I said, BA, is that all? And she said, oh, it's the Chestnut Hill Benevolence Association. So all I did was go to the website and I sent an email to, I think, the director of Christian Science training, and we went back and forth with correspondence, and I came to the BA after that. Yeah.
What makes you happiest about Christian Science nursing?
I think definitely the joy of going to work and seeing other your co-workers, other Christian Science nurses, and supporting the ministry, and seeing the love that everybody is giving out each and every day, even though the job can be demanding, and realizing that it's a teamwork and you don't feel like, oh, you're the one person who is supposed to deliver. You have your co-workers helping you, you have the directors, you have your mentors, you have experienced Christian Science nurses all around you to help you make those sound judgments and right decisions to provide the very best to support the needs of the patients of the floor. And knowing that the training is at the pace of each individual, is not a crash course. You get support from the mentors. You can call on anyone at any point in time. It helps us meet the manual bylaw requirement. It's an avenue and a support to each and every individual who is working to fulfill the purpose of Christian Science.
What do you find to be one of the biggest challenges in the work? I
think definitely not being impressed with what you see on a daily basis, going in a room with a sense of calm. I believe that each and every individual should pray for themselves, to pray for their thoughts, to have that calm presence and be inspired when you go into a room. Because if you're overwhelmed by what you see, you really can't do the work. And knowing that it's not you as a person that is doing the work, but it's God working through you to manifest the very best, to provide comfort to your fellow man. And it's very important for each and every one of us to work on that each and every day.
And what do you find the best preparation for being able to approach the work that way?
Definitely reading your Bible and the Science and Health. They are the books that you need each and every day and you need continuous study to do that every day. You find inspiration to do your work. And that's what we've been taught in training. As much as we go through care sessions, we know that those are just it's just a practice session in the class, but beyond that, there is a need to be inspired, both doing your work, doing that, and knowing that it's not just you. You can always call on someone to support you, knowing that the Bible and the Science and Health, like I said earlier, will inspire you and guide you in every way.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
How do you feel Christian Science and nursing is benefiting the whole world? It's certainly benefiting those who are engaged in it and those who are perhaps patients. But how is it benefiting the world as a whole?
When I think of that question, what came to mind was when Mrs. Eddy said that Jesus' healing was not for a limited period of time or for a select number of people. It's for each and every one in the world. And knowing that we can rely vertically on prayer as Christian scientists and demonstrating it each and every day, it's the perfect example of healing to the world, because when people see us demonstrate it, they will know it is the truth, and that is the best form of demonstration. Healing is, for me, the best form of demonstration. Helping your neighbor with a walk down the stairs, visiting them, sharing truths with them, audibly or silently. When you see them, it's a way of supporting healing in the world. And even with strangers you see in grocery shopping as well. Every day we find an opportunity to show that love to each and every individual that comes our way.
It's beautiful. How would you describe the distinction between the role of the Christian Science nurse and the role of the Christian Science practitioner?
Well, with a Christian Science nurse, we take care of the practical and the physical. We give physical support to the patient, whilst the practitioner does the metaphysical work for the patients. We help with the day-to-day activities of the patient, supporting them in their physical activities when we know that the practitioner is working for them day in, day out, helping them metaphysically in their thoughts. And I think for us, working on our thoughts, it's enough for the patients. It's enough for us to do that for ourselves. And it's just seeing that perfection and knowing that they're able to do this at this point and support that demonstration that it's happening, and knowing that there's going to be instantaneous healing at all times. And I think it's beautiful the way the practitioners work with the nurses in harmony, knowing his place in the treatment of the patients. And as Mrs. Eddy said, and in the Science and Health as well, each and everyone knowing his place in supporting healing of the patient. Yeah.
And why do you feel that Christian Science nursing is an essential activity?
From someone who didn't know absolutely anything about Christian Science nursing, apart from it being the last pages in the journal with a list of names, and coming here, it answered a lot of questions for me, because back home in Ghana, we, as a Christian Scientist, you get asked, so you believe in reliance on healing. So what happens if someone has this physical challenge? Do you ignore the fact that they need help and say you're relying on prayer? And Mrs. Eddy covers those bases, that there is Christian Science nursing to support you in those times. We are not ignoring the fact that one has a challenge, but we know that you can rise above it, and we know that you don't have to rely on anything else but God in those times. And you have fellow church members to support you in those times, not just through prayer, but practically supporting you, being there for you in terms of your comfort and your surroundings and your nourishment. None of it is ignored. Just we are there 24/7 to support that. And I think it's very important. I really wish it answers a lot of questions. I wish I could tell more people about it, that you know what is, there's not a gap in Christian Science. It's a complete healing. We are there for you through both your physical and your metaphysical help as well. We are always with you, supporting. Divine Love is always with you, supporting that. Yeah.
Maa Grace, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Steve.